Alright, here we go. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number 285. So, with this one, we're discussing another canon case. One that seems like it'll resolve pretty quickly. It's called The Mystery of the Cannibal Classroom, Part 1. This is episode 1169 of the series. And yes, still doing this. After 6 years of viewing this series. 6 years. This month marks 6 years since I caught up with the series. Yes, 6 years. So, in the case of this particular episode, it's part 1 of a two-parter. It covers, from the manga, the entirety of chapter 1110 and the first 13 pages of chapter 1111. We started with Conan and the Detective Boys on their way to school. Of course, apparently it's let's start with that. We actually first start with Hybra asking Professor if he's busy on Wednesday. And Wednesday just happened to be parent visiting class day. And then you have the kids over at school. They have a brief stopover at let me turn off there. Thank you. Brief stopover at a convenience store because Hybrid needed to go buy some lead for a lead pencil. And just by sheer coincidence, they run into 3 students there. First is Mayuri. First time anybody's seen her since the two-parter. First time I've seen her in the series since the two-parter that aired 6 years ago. Search for Mari-chan, which is one that it's sort of a loose black organization case where they reveal the leader of the black organization, not one. That was her last appearance in the show. This actually was the first time since that particular two-part she's been seen. And she's buying a tape because basically a roll tape, they refer to as a cellular phone tape. Basically, it's Scotch tape she's buying because she knows the schedule's torn, so she wants to fix it. And then we see another student buying a plastic writing pad because about ruining clips. And it plays a small role with him toward the end of the episode where he tripped on the flower bed. And then Genta sees another student apparently trying to buy a snack before class starts. A bag of chips. And he spreads his ghost story that the classroom is a man-eating classroom. And of course, they do some cleaning, of course. And then they have some lunch. And then they finish lunch. And then all of a sudden, Michio discovers, oh crap, basically the flower bed's on fire. Yes. So, Conan gets a fire extinguisher, because that's the proper thing to do. Hybra thinks it's not as big of an issue, so she grabs basically a vase of flowers with water and puts the fire out itself, while also accidentally tipping over a pot of flowers. And of course, this is also basically one where everybody's at the windows open, chatting to somebody outside. Of course, they do a little case. And of course, 3 possible suspects who could have started this fire. It's suspected Mayuri may have done it because her mom is in the hospital and she doesn't want to force mom to come to school. In the case of the kid who bought the plastic writing thing, he may have done it because he tripped over a flower. And the kid next door just to play up his ghost story. And Conan asked for his stuff from his desk, and well, they got also the lead that Hybrid just bought that very day, and that's kind of. And of course, Conan figured, oh, I know who the culprit is. Also, they mentioned his mom is going to visit, but it's not the former actor. It's basically her under disguise as the disguised fake mother of Conan, who was last seen back in season 1 of the show. Yes, seriously. That was the last time this fake persona was basically last used. But it's an interesting episode. It's no murder with this one, which is nice. It's just basically like whodunit the school thing. Quick little two-parter. But before I end this video here, we're going to next discuss chapter 1147, which Interesting though, we're at 1147 because the anime just adapted chapter 1141, which means they're about 36 chapters behind, basically behind the manga. So my guess is they might wait a while before they actually do it in a canon case. Who knows? And here's the weird thing. So it's chapter 1147, Chaotic Showdown, new case begins. And here's something really weird. This is the first time I've seen this in a while, where the last case ended on a cliffhanger, and then we have this, where we have Andre Carmel face to face with Rum. Now, this is how the last chapter ended of the previous story arc, and pick up right afterwards. And I suspect these two may know each other, and of course, Carmel basically calling him denying the fact he knew him. And they saw each other for quite a while. And then basically kind of points out about stuff just to throw off the game. Of course, here he asks him to pretend he doesn't know him. And then he gets back on his cell phone. A van pulls up, so he's like he's about to leave. And then, for some reason, a neighbor, one of the people who live in the apartment, just asks him, you acquainted with this one guy, and he pulls into the apartment. Rum sees him by jamming in the areas. Like, he sees this. He's not doing anything. He's just standing there. Conan's there, too. And they go to the guy's apartment, and of course, it's like... And of course, they eventually do finally open it. They knock on the door. They open it, but there's a chain there. And Conan notices something. There's feet hanging from a closet. Like, oh crap, someone hung themselves. And then, of course, basically they of course break the chain. They rush in. And it's like, man's dead for a couple hours. They notice it looks like his headset's been broken. And there's a bunch of happening here. And suspected that these three guys aren't basically... that two of these guys, now Andre Carmel, is the murderer. You're like, wow, that's quite something. So it's like, we wrap up one mystery, and we have sort of another mystery happen in the span of just a few hours. But, good chapter. Give it roughly a 9 out of 10. But I would not be surprised if it's wrapped up by... chapter 1149. I would not be surprised about that. But if I were basically the creator, I would do it 1150. Okay, so that's pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. Next up, we have is a Comic Corner, and then basically it's on to the second of 3 anime, which all 3 are available right now. Like, wow. It's not like basically a couple weeks ago where it was just... well, with Black Butler being there, or the other anime I wrapped up last week, which was I Left My Adventure where I joined former students to explore Dungeon Depths. Today it's only 3 anime, and look at they're all available, like all done right now, and then I'll worry about then I'll do G-Bon right afterwards. Yep. But see you next video. Bye.